Hey, this is Jack. This is going to be a review of the S&P 500 futures contract today, Thursday, April 2nd, 2026. This is my end of day chart markup. You can pause the video and take a look at reasonable trades I identified and see what I have to say about the day. Coming into the day, daily chart here. So we had this weak sell-off, and beneath every low we're finding buyers and we're bouncing. So finally this week, when we got a couple of strong bear bars down here and we had a big gap up on this bar, I imagined that we were going to start to bounce again, and maybe we'll get a couple of legs up to test the moving average. It's pretty far away, so I think it was pretty likely that we did that on the following day. And then after we got a big gap up and a strong bull trend bar, it was likely that we'll get follow through. So probably we're going higher. And then we got this bull bar and it closed below the midpoint. And because it closed below the midpoint, I imagine we're finding sellers up here. We're near the moving average. We're at a swing point on the daily chart. And we have a close below the midpoint on this bar. So therefore, probably we're going to find sellers at and above this bar. So I imagine we either gap down or we go sideways and open up and then sell off today. And we got the gap down. So 5-minute chart. First bar of the day is a big bull bar. I say big, it's not that big, but it's 12 points. It's got a pretty decent close. We have a big gap down. It's about an average day's range gap down. So probably we'll do something similar to yesterday, where we have a fairly small range, but probably we're going to rally on the open because we have a big gap down. And on the daily chart, that looks like a pullback in this strong leg. So it makes sense to expect a rally, or at least an attempt to rally. But early in the morning, bar 6, bar 12, probably better to wait for more information. Trader sold to close, and we got a big bear bar on 2, but could be a climax or it could be the start of a bear trend. So better to wait for more information. Buyers below and a reversal up, testing the open of the day, bar 3, closing below the midpoint. It's a bull bar. It's good enough size. It makes me think that the bears aren't as strong as they could be. Therefore, probably buyers below 3 or somewhere below 3. And right now, based on the information on this chart, we are not very far away from the Globex low. We have the Globex midpoint here, and the Globex high is up here near the swing point on the daily chart. Yesterday's close, yesterday's low here, and then a higher time frame moving average here. And the 20 EMA very far away. So because the moving average is so far away, we have a big gap down. We don't have that much selling pressure yet, and we're starting to reverse up. I imagine we're gonna rally and get above 1, especially with this strong bull bar. The tail of this bar, the second leg down from 2, did not reach the low close on 2, and with that big of a bar, 20 points, and that strong of a close, it's very likely that the bears that were selling during 2 and 3 are trapped, and they will probably close out of their positions, and we're probably going to go higher. So we're probably always in long. It's basically a pseudo double bottom. Probably reasonable to buy the close here and buy the pullback. Consecutive strong bars, and bar 5 is bigger than bar 4, so it's climactic behavior. It's likely that we're going to pull back soon, but probably that pullback will be bought. And bar 6, a smaller bar, so probably going to pull back soon, but again, probably will be bought. Decent sell signal, but too much buying pressure. We're not sure how strong the bears are going to be today. Bar 2 was pretty big and pretty surprisingly strong. So who's to say that the rally from 3 to 6 isn't just a bull trap, and now we're topping out near this moving average, near the Globex midpoint, and we have a strong sell signal. Who's to say that the bears aren't going to sell aggressively below bar 7? So it's very dangerous to be holding long, but I think the context is good for the bulls, better for the bulls than the bears. So reasonable to still be thinking about buying. Outside up, we're starting to creep create a tight trading range, so probably sellers above and probably buyers below, but probably going sideways to up. We're always in long, and now we've trapped the bears selling below 7. So the bears selling below 7 are not as strong as they could be, otherwise we wouldn't have formed a bull bar like that. So I imagine that we're going to go higher, but again, we're channeling higher, so we're probably going to go sideways to up. 9, weak sell, probably buyers at the close and below. 10, trying to break out of the channel and reversing, not closing beyond the prior bar. I imagine we find sellers here again, and we go sideways to down for another spike break. Small bar, small tail on the top, same, probably going sideways to down here. And then 12, breaking out below 11, not very strong, not very convincing. If I'm a bear, I'm pretty disappointed, and I need a strong move in the next bar or two, or I'm going to think that the bulls are probably going to start buying. And we did not go below 12. Instead, traders bought the close of 12, and now we've broken out of the micro wedge, a micro spike and channel. So it's a wedge, and now we're breaking out of that structure, and we're doing something different. So we're resetting the market cycle. This could be a climax. This bar is bigger than all of these bars. In fact, this bar is 23 points. This bar is 20, and this bar is 18. This is the biggest bar of the day so far. So by definition, it's a climax, but with the strong close and with the context, it makes sense to buy and buy the pullback. Probably we'll pull back to the breakout point here, or maybe test down here where the bears got trapped. On a higher time frame, this is all just one micro channel. Like here's the 15-minute chart. We're in a tight micro channel, and then here's the 10-minute chart. A micro channel. So it's buy the close, buy the pullback, buy for any reason, but the risk is big. This is 23 points. That's over $1,000 a contract. So if you're trading here, you got to be able to make quick decisions, but always in long and going higher. Now, nobody could have guessed that this was going to come next, a 58-point bar. And whenever you get a climax like this on the open, odds are very good that we're going to go sideways to down for quite a while after this. It's probably not a buy the close bar. We're probably not going to get another bar the same size or bigger. And we're probably going to start to pull back and go sideways. Inside bar, weak close, but still probably going sideways to down for a little bit longer. And then a strong bear bar, reasonable to sell, betting on this to be a failed bull breakout of the wedge and a big climax. But there's probably buyers at the low and maybe around the midpoint here. So if you're selling, it's probably just a scalp. Strong bull bar, but might just be a pullback for the bears. Well, really for the bulls, we have 1 pullback, 2. So that's 2 legs down. And for the bears, it's just 1 leg, so we probably have sellers somewhere up here. But reasonable to take for a scalp, really in either direction. So bar 18, strong, traders bought the close. But big tail is an implied 2-legged move and another 2-legged move. So probably we're going to find sellers here soon. Strong bear breakout, but not much conviction. Probably going sideways to down. Might get another leg up for the bulls before we get another leg down, or completed second leg down for the bears. Inside bar, 2 weak closes. These look like pullback bars in this leg, so probably buyers here. And a double top with 18, so probably sellers above and at the close. Inside bar, we're forming a triangle, so it's better to probably wait for the breakout. It's a lot more buying pressure than selling pressure through here, but this move down is pretty significant. So whatever breakout we get up here may not get very far before we find sellers. So if anything, I'm thinking about selling here. All right, weak close, but good. Good for the bears. Not ideal. Double bottom with the 16 close. So maybe buyers somewhere down here, but probably going a little bit lower. All right, and we're rallying. We just made the triangle bigger. A lot more buying pressure again than selling pressure, but we're finding sellers at these highs. So I imagine we find them again. Inside bar, sideways to down, likely. Failed bull breakout, but the triangle is just getting bigger. And now 27, failed bear breakout. The limit order market, but you know, a lot more buying pressure than selling pressure. And then something changed with 28. Now we have a bar that looks similar to 16 in strength, and we have a triangle, and this might be a breakout of the trend line of that triangle. So reasonable to sell and sell the pullback, but again, the risk is big, relatively big. This is an 11, almost 12-point bar, and it could be a failed breakout of a triangle. The triangle might just be getting bigger. Usually when a breakout fails from a triangle, instead of breaking out the other side, the triangle usually just gets bigger. So this breakout could fail, but the context is decent for a test down to maybe the 17 low or maybe the 14 low. We reversed up after testing yesterday's low with a strong bull reversal bar. This could be 2 implied legs down after a triangle breakout, but 28 and 29 is a big enough move down that this might just be pullback to about 50% or so. So we might find sellers here. Outside down, reasonable sell signal, but might pull back. Same, probably going lower. And then failed bear breakout below 29. Possibly a double bottom, but we're channeling lower. And bar 32 here might be a breakout pullback in the same bar. Inside bar, probably buyers not far below. And then late strength and a weak sell-off in a trading range after a strong rally. Probably we're going to find buyers soon if we don't just plummet first. I wouldn't be buying and I wouldn't be selling. I'd be waiting to see what the follow-through looks like, and it's bad. It's a doji. We tried to pull back. We might go a little bit lower, but we're probably going to find buyers here. We've got a wedge bottom, a failed double bottom, and a breakout of that failed double bottom. But so far, the breakout looks like it's failing. So we might test back up here to 31 high, maybe 26 high. All right, channeling higher, not good for the bulls. This might be a pullback for the bears, and this might be one leg down. And after a small rally, you might get a second leg down here. Good for the bulls, testing the moving average, but a lot of overlap with this rally, so we'd probably find sellers at and above the bar. Pullback, probably buyers below and at the close. All right, second leg up, double top 30, but strong bar, so probably buyers below. Probably better to be thinking about buying than selling. We're always in long since the open of the day. Maybe we flipped a short very briefly here, but the sell-off is not that impressive, and the rally here is the dominant feature of the day. So I'm thinking more about buying when we're starting to turn up after a wedge bottom. Even though it's 2 implied legs up, we haven't had a spike break yet, and if we go below 39, we're probably going to find buyers. Going sideways, we're probably going to pull back here. Outside bar, probably sellers above and sellers at and below for a test down to 39 low. Reasonable sell signal, could be climactic, so probably disappointing follow through. A pullback, maybe a second leg down from 42, but the context is good enough for the bulls for a scalp. Going sideways, we might go a little bit lower before we get the second leg up for the bulls, and then we trap the bears on 45. Reasonable to buy the close and buy the pullback, betting on a test of the 39 high. Double top 39, probably going sideways to down. Inside bar, same. And then sell signal, so reasonable to take that for a short, but it's just a scalp. We're channeling higher, and we're still always in long. We're in a trading range. We have a strong bull trend, a triangle, and now we're in a trading range with a double top and strong buying pressure here. We do have strong selling pressure here, a little bit here, but a lot of overlap for the bears. So if I'm a bear taking the scalp, it's really just for a few points. Good entry bar, but small bar. Why is it small and why isn't it like 42? And that's because the bears aren't as strong as they could be, so probably sideways here. Bad follow through and more bad follow through. Probably we're going to find buyers soon, and then surprise bear breakout 52, possible double bottom 43, testing the low close 38, 43 low, and the entry price for the bulls buying above 35. Reasonable to sell, but could be a trap. We're in a trading range and we're near the bottom, and we're probably still always in long unless this bar gets follow through. No follow through and a pretty strong looking buy signal bar. So probably sideways here. 54, channeling higher. Not good for the bears, better for the bulls. So reasonable to think about buying. Then a strong bar 55, but it could be 2 legs up. So we might double top up here, but reasonable to buy and buy the pullback. Always in long. Doji, double top 51, but probably buyers not far below. Inside bar, breakout probably won't get that far. And Doji, we're always in long, we're going sideways. I don't know, we might find sellers up here. The double top looks like it's failing. That's a bad sell. We found buyers below, so probably we're going to find more buyers below and at the close of this bar. But we're turning down, so that's reasonable for a short scalp, but I'd be very quick to get out if it doesn't do what I want it to do. And then I think about buying. Disappointing follow through 60, so I'm definitely thinking about buying. And now I'm probably buying here. Turning up 61, strong enough buy signal bar, decent enough context for 2 legs down after a rally and a failed bear breakout near the bottom of a triangle. But look at what we're doing. We're building another big triangle. So probably better to wait for the upside breakout or the downside breakout. The market's fairly neutral here, but probably we're always in long and the bears aren't doing quite enough. Doji, probably buyers not far below. And then here's the bull breakout, 63. Probably always in long, buy the close, buy below. Small follow through bar, maybe a double top. So I'd be quick to get out. Double top 48, probably buyers not far below. Reasonable sell signal for a scalp, probably buyers near and around the moving average. Tested the high close, letting the bulls out, so we might go lower. But then bull bar, so channeling higher, was still running the risk of a double top here, and failed bull breakout, another sell signal. We haven't had a spike break for a few bars, probably 8 or 9 bars, so probably whatever reversal we get, we find buyers around the midpoint of this rally. Reasonable entry bar, but disappointment with the tail, so probably buyers not far below. Channeling lower, we'll probably find buyers soon. Bull bar, but end of the day, better to let it go. We'll probably go a little bit higher, test that high, find sellers. We're in a trading range. Sellers above, buyers below. 75, probably disappointing follow through. 76, probably sellers up here. Surprise bull bar, but probably doesn't get good follow through, and it does. And then sideways into the close. So I wanted to do something else today to help practice my day structure recognition skills, and I want to go through a series of charts that look similar functionally to today's price action to get an idea of what to look for, if we have a strong rally during the open, what kind of selling pressure and buying pressure should be taking place for that rally to sustain itself. And if we get a big buy climax like this, what kind of buying pressure and selling pressure, what does that look like if we go sideways to down or sideways or maybe even sideways to up? So I'm going to pull that up and we're going to run through some charts. So early in the morning, this was the first chart that I thought of. I think this is Liberation Day, as they call it, when Trump posted a tweet or something about tariffs, and the market rallied hard as fuck. We got this big climax bar on 9. It looks eerily similar to today, and I stopped trading after that big climax bar because I had accomplished what I set out to accomplish. And after that climax, we're probably going to form a trading range and go sideways. And that's what we ended up doing on this day, April 7th, 2025. And that's what we did today, April 2nd, 2026. So really interesting day there. But you can see the selling pressure. A decent sell signal, but follow through for the bulls. Didn't close above. Strong selling pressure down, but a lot of overlap. So it makes sense that we found buyers not far below. We rallied for a couple of legs to a double top with a strong reversal down. Reasonable to think about selling, but probably buyers somewhere in the prior leg for a trading range. And then we formed a triangle. I think we formed a triangle today as well. And eventually we got the upside breakout. Initially, it looked like it would fail. We have a big tail in this bar. It's kind of like the bear breakout we had today. But eventually it did work, and we got good follow through. So, interesting. Sell off on the open, sharp reversal up, spike and channel to a wedge top and double top. And here, we went sideways to down for most of the day. And look at the difference in the selling pressure here. A lot of consecutive strong bars, not a lot of overlap. And what rally we got ended up being a wedge bear flag, and then the reversal down made a new low before we found buyers. So here the breakout came late, and we channeled sideways to up. A lot of overlap, but a lot of bull bars, and not a lot of consecutive bear bars, and not a lot of strong bear closes either. So 2 legs down, strong reversal up, some overlap, but strong bars. Pretty decent reversal here, but bad follow through, small bars, tails, not a lot of consecutive strong bear bars. Even here, strong bear bar, but bad follow through and tail. And because the bull bars weren't very climactic, this rally was able to last all day. Strong sell up on the open, but it's a parabolic wedge, a lot of overlap, climactic behavior. So it reversed. The reversal was climactic. That's why we ended up pulling back and going sideways to down for a few hours. Strong reversal on the open, big gap down, reversal up, but climactic. Therefore, we went sideways to down to correct for that. Strong rally on the open after a big gap down. Somewhat climactic, but the bears are neutralizing that climactic behavior all the way up until finally we run out of sellers, until we run out of buyers, and then the sellers just take over. So this is the risky run when you have a large climax during the day. This was today. So today we had a sell-off, a strong rally, an even stronger rally, and then we went sideways for the rest of the day. Here's the triangle I was talking about, the bear breakout. And then we formed a bigger triangle here. So strong rally, climactic behavior, strong pullback. So fairly balanced market, but bad follow through here. And then the bulls dominating for the rest of the day, sideways to up. Not a lot of strong bear bars, not a lot of strong closes. I'm not going to say very much probably for a lot of these charts just to get through it and be done with it. This is just a little extra practice. I've already done this, but I thought it would be good to do for YouTube. So if I see anything interesting, I'll just make comments. You know, climactic behavior here. Strong selling here, but climactic again, so not sustainable. And same here, strong selling, but climactic. Climactic behavior here, but it's neutralized with these pullback bars, bad follow through for the bulls, or excuse me, for the bears. And then climactic behavior neutralized, climax neutralized. A lot of two-sided trading here. It makes sense that we went sideways to down at the end of the day. A lot of strong selling, a lot of strong buying. Bulls stronger than the bears. Not a lot of selling here, not a lot of selling pressure. So it makes sense that this kind of held above that climax. Here, less climactic behavior, a small pullback bull trend on the 5-minute chart. Gap down, rally. Climactic behavior here, so sideways to up, but the upside's limited. Tight trading range, tight channel, tight trading range, and then sideways to down. Bulls kind of running out of steam through here. Not a lot of strong bull bars, strong bull closes, with small bars, strong pullbacks, micro channels against the trend. That's trading range behavior. All right, double bottom, climactic behavior, so a strong correction here, and then sideways, a big trading range. Climactic behavior here, and climactic behavior here, strong selling, so sideways. Not much buying pressure here, so sideways to down. Climactic behavior, so sideways. A lot of overlap, a lot of strong selling, strong buying, climactic behavior. So the rally did not last, and we went sideways to down. We have another triangle here with a bear breakout that got 2 legs down. Here's what it looks like when the rally fails entirely. We have a strong climax. After we make a double bottom, we test support, we rally, and we get strong selling pressure. All of a sudden, we lose the consecutive strong bull bars. And instead, we start to find some consecutive strong bear bars, consecutive strong bars here, consecutive strong bars here, big climactic bars here, bad follow through, but strength. And eventually, we run out of buyers. And then notice how in the bear trend, every bull bar is just a pullback, and it forms a bear flag. So every pullback is a sell signal. sell the close, sell the close. Double top, sell signal. Probably going to test down here or lower, sell the close. New breakout and follow through, strong consecutive closes, not a lot of overlap. A pullback, as strong as it looks, sell signal. Another one, sell. Gap down and a strong rally. A lot of overlap. There's problems in the rally, but look at the bears. They're not very strong. We couldn't even close below 7. No follow through for 13, and then the bulls took over. Not much overlap in this breakout, so it makes sense the pullback held above these highs. And then the selling pressure here is decent, but it's just overlap. There's no consecutive strong bars, maybe here, but by this point, you're at a wedge, double bottom, bull flag. And here's kind of a trading range variant, you know, a strong bull climax and then sideways essentially the rest of the day. Consecutive strong bars, but it's a trading range. You know, big tails, inside bars, climactic behavior, bad follow through, reversal, reversal, reversal. You know, tight trading range, tails below bars. So really, every strong move, either up or down, is a signal to do the opposite. So 15, you sell. 16, 17, you buy. 18, 19, you sell. A lot of overlap, not much of a trend. Some strength here, but climactic, overlap, tails below bars. Not much follow through here, so we went sideways mostly. Strong rally, but climactic, so strong pullback, but climactic as well. Micro double bottom, and then a bull breakout. Not much selling pressure here or here, so the bears are going to wait to sell until we get at a better price, get to a better price, maybe above the swing point on 4. But by that point, we have consecutive strong legs in a tight channel, and that's a breakout on the next higher time frame. So then we formed a small pullback bull trend. Not really like today, but it's important to see just variations of the same thing. And here we had several legs down before we got the climax. And then once we got the climax, we went sideways. Climax, sideways to up, and then sideways. Double bottom, triangle, bull breakout, climax, and then sideways. Failed bear breakout, triangle, breakout, another triangle. You know, climax, but the bars are small, so it's a little bit more sustainable. We went sideways to up. Double bottom, spike and channel, less climactic, you know, less big, strong bars, and a lot of small bars in the pullback, so not a lot of selling pressure, a lot more buying pressure than selling pressure. So sideways to up, more of a bull trend day. Unusually strong, and then unusually strong in the other direction. So if you get something like this, you got to be thinking, I don't know, this might just be a leg in a trading range. And that's what it ended up being. By the time you get 13, 14, 15, 16, you got to be thinking that we might be going down here for a test. Opening reversal up. Tight trading range, you could call it a triangle, though it's not a triangle shape. Then a spike and channel bull. But climactic here, so it makes sense we went sideways the rest of the day. Strong rally, tight trading range, bull breakout, but climactic behavior, so sideways to down the rest of the day. Sell-off, gap down, and a sell-off, strong rally. This looks very similar to today's price action, I believe. Strong bear bar, bull bar with a big tail, and then a strong bull bar here. Spike and channel failed at the moving average, and then strong selling pressure 16. This is why it's important to wait before you commit to something, because, you know, as strong as this looks, we're below the moving average, and we're getting a strong sell signal. And by the time you get 16, you got to be thinking that your premise of bull trend is probably wrong. We're probably going to go lower, especially after you get 17. So sideways to down. This failed. Bull trend sideways, and then a channel and sideways. Sell off, strong rally, not much selling pressure here. Very strong selling pressure on the open, but climactic behavior. So it's neutralized and overpowered by the opposite pressure. And then when the bears have a chance to reverse the market, they fail. They don't have enough. So it's not good enough. And then we get a strong breakout, and that leads to a new high. But this is climactic, as well as this. It's a parabolic wedge. big climactic bars with tails, so sideways, and then finally bear breakout at the end of the day. Climax here, tight channel here, so sideways to up. Double bottom, strong rally, wedge top, climax here, but it's small bars. So it's a lot of time control. And the pullback is a wedge, micro double bottom, spike and channel, parabolic wedge, formed a spike and channel. So a lot stronger here, not much selling pressure. Here, very strong selling on the open, but double bottom, strong reversal up. You know, at this point, who's stronger, the bulls or the bears? Honestly, the bears look very strong, so I would be very hesitant to be buying anywhere up here. We'll probably test down to this pause bar, and if this fails, we'll probably test all the way back down to here. Strong selling pressure, but bad follow through, so it makes sense we formed a trading range. Finally, we got the breakout here. The bulls gave up. Look at the lack of buying pressure here. It makes sense that the bulls finally gave up at that low. An obvious stop placement for buyers who are buying during this rally, or buying here, putting their stops there. That's a magnet. If the bulls fail, like right here, it's very obvious the bulls are probably going to fail. So probably we're going to go down there. And if we get there with strength, it's very likely we're going to go lower. Sell-off, climactic rally and sideways. Sell-off, strong rally, but not too climactic. You know, yes, bar 13 is big. 5, 4, 22. These are all big bars, but I don't know. If you look at them in relation to the prior bars, they're not ridiculously big. They don't have big tails on the top of the bars or the bottom of the bars. And the pullbacks are covering a fair amount of distance, but the closes are not strong. There are tails on the bottom of the bars, small bars, tail. So we went sideways to up the rest of the day. Not enough selling pressure to create a reversal. I guess this is kind of like the opposite of what we had today, where we had a strong sell-off and then sideways for the rest of the day. Today we had a strong rally and then sideways for the rest of the day. So it's interesting to just look at the opposite situation. Not quite the same. You know, we didn't rally to a double top, or we didn't have an opening reversal down, but still functionally, it's the opposite of what we had today. Strong climax, very unlikely that this is going to last all day, so we go sideways to down for an hour or two, and then sideways for the rest of the day. Climactic rally, this is not sustainable, not good follow through, tails, big bars, kind of goofy looking. It doesn't really make sense, you know, it's not uniform like here. It's uniform. Look at this. This looks kind of, you know, like a clown put it together or something. So then we got a strong reversal down, but that looks the same way. It looks like, I don't know, clown shoes or something, you know, just big and goofy. Like, why do we have 24? You really think 24 is going to lead to a test down there? Probably not, you know. So trading range day, tight channel here, sideways to up. We held support from that breakout. Strong rally and then sideways to up. Wedge top, double bottom, strong rally, but then sideways. Climactic behavior, 14, 17, you know, strong selling pressure, 26, 27, but strong reversal up. Ultimately climactic, therefore sideways to down the rest of the day. Strong rally and sideways, a lot of overlap, you know, bad follow through for the bulls and the bears. And when you have that, that means buyers below and sellers above. So mostly sideways for the rest of the day, late in the day breakout. Strong rally, but peters out for the last, you know, couple of legs of the rally. You know, decent selling pressure here, a lot of consecutive bear bars, not much conviction, but still price and time control. And then the rally doesn't look very good. You know, very bad follow through here, here, and here, where the consecutive strong bars don't really have them. And then once we start to get consecutive bear bars, you got to be thinking that we're going down here. Now, once we get there, it's a chance we could double bottom, 9, 36, 17, 33. Excuse me. Reversal up looks pretty good, but bad follow through. A warning that the rally might not get very far. 39, 40, pretty good bars. 41, strong enough for more up, but probably going to double top up here. And then finally, reversal at the end of the day. Trading range, bull breakout, but it's very sloppy. A lot of tails, climactic behavior. So it makes sense. Sideways, Strong breakout here, but really not sustainable, so sideways the rest of the day. Sell off and reversal up. It was climactic, therefore sideways the rest of the day. Sell off on the open, strong rally, but climactic, sideways to down, an endless pullback for the rest of the day, and then looks like FOMC. Strong rally, but it's a parabolic wedge, climactic, an endless pullback that lasted the rest of the day. Gap down, rally, strong sell-off, but climactic, and then another strong climactic rally, and then sideways to down the rest of the day. Not really similar to today, but a strong climax, and it just illustrates how a strong rally can be climactic, and therefore will not last the rest of the day, especially when you get strong selling pressure. Strong sell signal, good follow through, good entry, strong close, strong bar here, trapping the bulls, a pause and follow through. That's strong selling pressure. And then consecutive strong closes, strong bodies, not much overlap here. Definitely getting a second leg down, especially when you see something like this. Well, not especially. I mean, there could have been buyers at the close of 47, but this channel down is too tight. And what's the argument? It's not a double bottom. You could say it's a pullback from this rally, but I don't know. Strong rally, sideways to up the rest of the day. Very strong selling pressure up here. Triangle, bull breakout. Strong selling pressure here, but a lot of buying pressure. Still always in long, despite the strong selling pressure. We're in a channel, in a trading range overall, Not really similar to today, but you could say a rally, a climactic rally trading range. I guess this is a very, weak version of what took place today functionally. Sell off and a rally, sideways, rally, sideways, strong rally, sideways, triangle, bull breakout. Not much selling pressure. I mean, yes, price control, but not time control. We have a big bar on 12, but it got bad follow through. It came from a good signal, but it was the first spike break since the open of the day. It formed a triangle, 16, bad follow through 17, reasonable to start buying. Sideways to up, finally 2 climactic, and sideways to down for the rest of the day. Sell off, strong rally, but climactic, sideways the rest of the day. Opening reversal down, failed. Bull bar with a big tail and then a strong reversal up. It kind of looks like today's price action, right? But climactic rally, a lot of overlap. So sellers above, buyers below. Big climax bar, sideways to down for hours. Not really like today. 2 legs down and then a rally. Not very climactic. Bad follow through, sure. There's a lot of tails above and below bars. Not a lot of uniformity. But this is price and time control. Where's the consecutive strong bear bars? They disappeared. We had them here, but then they disappeared for hours. Here's a few here, but by this point, we have so much price and time control that there's really not much going for the bears, and we have support, possibly at the open of the day. We have 1, pause 2, pause 3. That's a wedge. We might have a failed breakout of 24. Test of the open of the day. Test of this price level as support. Sideways, strong buying pressure, strong selling pressure here, but again, double bottom. Where are the consecutive strong bars? We really don't have them. All right, that's it. And then here's today. Opening reversal down, but climactic, reversal up, bull bar with a big tail, follow through, probably going higher, spike and channel, and then a surprise bull breakout. But it's huge, it's climactic. Therefore, we're probably going sideways to down for a while. And we do. We form a triangle, then we go sideways to down, and then we kind of run out of selling pressure. The selling pressure in here isn't that strong. We don't really have strong closes, consecutive strong bars. We have consecutive bars here, but we have tails below bars, weak closes, tails above bars, small bodies. It's sloppy. There's problems with the sell-off. Finally, we get strength, but it's late in the sell-off, and we have a wedge bottom that's getting bad follow-through. So when you get the reversal, that we're probably still always in long, and we're right near support, which is the low of this climax bar where everybody and their mom bought. They bought for a reason. I don't know why, but everybody on the planet seemed that, this was a good price to buy. So once we got back there, we started to reverse up. So then we went sideways to up for the rest of the day. But overall, this is just a big rectangle. This is a big trading range. So that's my review. A little bit longer today, but good practice. So thanks for watching. and I'll keep posting. I changed my layout, so hopefully it's a little bit easier to see, and I made the bars bigger, the numbers and lines bigger, and I want to keep doing these reviews and doing trade reviews every now and then and stuff like that. So if you have any ideas, or if you'd like to see anything, if you have any questions, just leave a comment. So yeah, thanks. Bye.